Hello guys, today we're going to talk about the movie Emma, the 2020 version. The movie was released in 2020, it's rated PG, and it's 2 hours and 4 minutes long. It has 6.8 out of 10 on the IMDb with about 12,000-ish user votes, and it has 71% on Metacritic with 47 critics. It stars Anya Taylor-Joy, A-N-Y-A, if I pronounce her first name, who was in the movie Split, and Johnny Flynn, who was in the movie Crusade in Jeans. And the movie was directed by Autumn de Wilde, who also did The Postman Dreams. On Rotten Tomatoes, the movie has 86% by critics, with 216 critics, and 72% by audiences, with... Oh, forgot to catch that number. Hold on a sec. Um, but yeah, this, and I believe, side note, I believe have been different retellings of this movie as well. With the 72% by audiences, with around 3,000-ish user audiences, and the critics' consensus is other adaptations may do a better job of consistently capturing the spirit of the classic source material, but Jane Austen fans should still find a solid match in this Emma. The movie isn't available to stream, but it's available to rent and buy on Amazon and iTunes. It's only available to rent on YouTube, Google Play, and Fandango, and only available to buy on Vudu. And it's gonna be released on DVD this year in 2020. So technically this movie should still be in theaters because of all the bullshit, all the weird terribleness going around. It's the theaters are closed. So a lot of movies that were in theaters or were about to go into theaters are being put online. So me and Corey, we watched them here. So this movie, it's interesting because this movie visually is just. This is one of the most visually pleasing movies I've ever seen. It is just that good. Dialogue-wise, it's easy to follow. It's one of those movies you may have to watch more than once to catch all the dialogue, because a lot of people, they use a lot of words and a lot of sentences very quickly. A lot of words that are long and more ambitious. Definitely old school. They have other takes on the story. And I haven't really seen any of them, but But I think, if I remember reading this, I believe Clueless was an adaptation of a modern adaptation because it was made in the '90s, so it's not really modern anymore. But it's probably the most modern one that I think was made in terms of like the dialogue being more streamlined. But I haven't seen that, and I don't know if that's true. It's just something I think I read when I was reviewing this. Um, but yeah, the thing I loved about this movie is like visually it's just amazing. Acting's great. Um, Dialogue. If there's one thing about this movie that might be a bit much, I feel like they could afford to make the dialogue a bit more simpler. I felt like at times that the dialogue got so wrapped up in being like very of that time that it gets a little tricky to catch some of the funny lines and the tones and everything. I mean, it's easy to follow. I will say, watching like one of those old school stories with dialogue that no one uses anymore on a movie or a show makes it a lot easier to follow because the tone of the voices and everything makes the understanding of the words much more easier to understand. But even in this, sometimes the words get a bit much. I can't really say on like not keeping the spirit of the story inconsistencies in that because I never read it and I haven't seen any of the other movies besides this, so I can't see how true that is. But but I do think, but I do like the characters in this movie. This is not a movie where I didn't find anyone nothing was done terribly, and I do think this movie was executed very well. I think if I was gonna look through the screenplay and I was looking through the draft, I would have been like, hey, can we somehow make some of these longer dialogue sections a bit more streamlined so that when people listen to the characters talk, it isn't as like, I mean, I wouldn't say that like with the dialogue that it lets that it's consistent. It never none of the dialogue feels out of place, but there's just times where I'm just like I'm sorry, what? And that's the thing. And unfortunately, a lot I feel because this movie is more on the. It's not meant to be taken. It's a mostly comedy with some with drama during key points, and I think if I was gonna do anything differently with the movie, is that I think I would have tried to maybe not use kind of keep things a bit more simpler. And looking back now, they did do that a little bit, but I think they could have done it a little bit more. But in all honesty, that's more of a nitpick. Because in all honesty, it's a little bit of a nitpick. I do believe this is a good movie. In terms of like audience, I do believe this is aimed toward the female girl woman audience. Because it is based on a Jane Austen novel, and I don't know a lot of guys that get into that. I'm sure they're out there, but I don't know a lot. I enjoyed it. I liked it. I will say it. I did. It was kind of was I when I it definitely has a sophistication to it. Same thing with Little Woman, but Little Woman was a bit more down to earth. This one, everyone's pretty much rich. You know, I mean, they're not mean or anything or cold or heartless. Really, they're just rich. You know, so that's kind of the thing with them. But yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was a really good movie, and I do believe that it's definitely worth a watch. Is it the best version? I don't know. From what I heard, there might be better ones, but not by much. This is still a very good movie. And for the visuals alone, God, what a gorgeous movie. Acting's great. It has a great cast. Everything. The only nitpick is dialogue could have been a little bit more streamlined, but even then, that's a nitpick. But yeah, it's a pretty good movie. I definitely recommend it. You're not really gonna find it cheap because it's technically a theater movie. So any purchase you're gonna look for, it's gonna be pricey. So keep that in mind in case you want to see it now. If you want to see it now, you'll be paying full price, even if it's just a rental. So you might be tempted to wait a little bit. But yeah, this is a great solid movie. I recommend it. And yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like the videos, and have a good day.